Tennessee Titans fans, it is that time of the week where we hop on Reddit to see what Titans fans are saying about the state of the organization. All of these posts today are coming from the Two Tone Talk Reddit page. The link to that page is in the video description below. Go over there, join that community, leave your questions, comments, memes, concerns. They will get featured on this segment next week. Let's dig in and see what things are looking like this week. This user said, I think Brad and RBT are the only level-headed people on Titan social media right now. There's a reason there's still 40-year-old quarterbacks in the NFL. People expect Cam to magically get better with a depleted receiving core and the regiments of maybe the worst coaching staff this franchise has ever had. I do genuinely think Ward is improving with his confidence if he can just hold on to the ball better. The exact same people who would have wanted to trade the number one pick to the Giants now would have called Drake May a bust this time last year by their logic. Cam is still the guy, tighten up. Well, I completely agree with you, and I appreciate your kind words. And the tweet that you are referencing from RBT was this one that says Drake May had 16 turnovers and 12 starts as a rookie. There are legitimate Titans fans already wanting Cam Ward out after 7 games. Clown show makes it hard to read anything on here. Amen. Amen. It's ridiculous, and it is embarrassing. Let's continue on. This user said Titans better coaching staff, rather. We need Joe Brady down here bad as our next Titans head coach. He turned Josh Allen from turnover machine to MVP candidate. We need his help as our next Titans head coach. He has play calling experience. I mean, I'm not against the idea of Joe Brady. I'm not against it. I think that Joe Brady could be a good head coach. The problem is, I don't know if the Titans' best decision right now would be to bring in a first-time head coach. I think the Titans need to maybe look for somebody to stabilize the organization, somebody with more experience. I also am hesitant to say Joe Brady turned Josh Allen from a turnover machine to an MVP candidate. My thinking is that Josh Allen turned Josh Allen into an MVP candidate, but who knows? This user said, how I feel on game day. It's game day. Not again. Look at the meme there. That is how it feels. I mean, I remember week 1, I was so excited. I was so pumped up. It felt like Christmas. And then, like, this past week when it was the Titans-Patriots, I remember I just woke up and was like, oh, gosh. Here we go again. That's what it feels like. This user said, of course. I started being a Titans fan right before the 2022 draft, and one of my favorite players right before the draft was A.J. Brown, and that was the beginning of sadness of being a Titans fan. Like, bro, I just became a fan. Why whenever I like something, it goes to crap? My fave NBA team is the Hornets. My fave MLB team is the Angels. Like, bro, what did I do to deserve this? I just wanted to apologize to all the Titans fans out there. I'm sorry that my presence of being a fan of the Titans is ruining y'all's lives, and sorry to you, Brad. Well, you know what? You should be sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, the Titans have had struggles long before you came along. They just happen to have a few good years right before you came along and then right after you came along. But if you want to get technical, the Titans have been terrible ever since I started this podcast. They were 7-3. They had just beaten the Packers in the 2022 season. Everything was looking great. I started this podcast. They lost 7 games in a row to finish that season 7-10. Then they came back and went 6-11 the next year. Then they went 3-14 last year, and now they're 1-6. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Titans coaching candidates for the 2026 season. Let's talk about some coaching candidates who has ties with Mike Borgonzi during their time in Kansas City a couple of years. Before Borgonzi took over as GM of the Titans, Matt Nagy has ties with Mike Borgonzi during their time. Mike Kafka also has ties with Borgonzi before Kafka took the offensive coordinator job with the Giants. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans have either Mike Kafka or Matt Nagy, as those ties have Mike. There's so many Mikes. I'm getting confused. Either way, you get what they're saying. Mike Kafka, I would not be crazy about that hire at all. That does not excite me whatsoever. Matt Nagy, I think a lot of people are against that. But, I mean, I get, like, he's had success, and he had success with Mitch Trubisky. So, I mean, maybe. This user said this is who the Titans should really go after for their next head coach. Andy Reid, Brian Flores, Steve Spagnuolo, Joe Brady, Josh Grizzard, Sean McVay, and Bill Cowher. Well, I mean, Sean McVay and Andy Reid are preoccupied. They're not leaving where they are to come here. Bill Cowher is not going to be coaching again. Steve Spagnuolo, though, that's an interesting name that I haven't seen thrown out as much. Obviously, he's got ties to Mike Borgonzi and the Chiefs. That's a name that hasn't gotten a lot of attention so far that, maybe should at least be mentioned. This user said, can't blame Lockett. I'll keep this short. Lockett has been disappointing this season, but this team is so unserious and non-competitive in games that I can't blame Lockett for wanting out. Also, they better start Restrepo or I'm going to riot. So, first of all, regarding Tyler Lockett, I do understand. I mean, listen, he's toward the end of his career. I get the thought process that says, you know what, this is a tough game. I'm putting my body on the line. I know what this team is. I know where this organization is at right now. And all reports were that this was a mutual parting of ways. I mean, if you're Tyler Lockett, you're looking at Chimere DK and you're saying, you know what, you've got a slot receiver right here that can do the job. That's who you need to go with. I'll bow out if you guys are good with it. The Titans said, you know what, fine. It's a mutual parting of ways. I get being a veteran player who's probably tired, body worn down, and just saying, you know what, let me just leave. As far as Xavier Restrepo is concerned, I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to call him up this week. They've already signed Mason Kinsey to the 53-man roster. That's where we are at with this right now. So, yikes. Never going to happen, but it might be fun. I was thinking who I would want as a coach on our staff, and I think it would be interesting to see Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck as one of our coaches, even if it's just the quarterback coach. But I think Peyton has the football IQ to be a good OC. I don't think Peyton Manning is interested in such a thing. I don't think Peyton Manning, I mean, he's got a pretty sweet gig. He's doing commercials. He's doing the Manning cast with Eli. He's involved in the NFL. I think Peyton Manning would be more likely to become an owner of an NFL franchise. I think Peyton Manning, could maybe even see him being a GM or something like or what Tom Brady's doing with the Raiders right now. I could see Peyton Manning doing that with a team. I don't think Peyton Manning will ever coach. Andrew Luck, I could see him being a quarterback coach somewhere someday, but I don't think it'll be here. I will say that. I do not think that it will be here because I think the Colts would just sacrifice him. All right, draft better, play better. This post was very interesting to me. In 2019, the Titans were second in the AFC South, lost to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, ended 9-7. In 2019, the Lions were last in the NFC North, ending 3-12-1. Players still on drafting team from 2020. The draft for the Titans, they drafted 6 players, 0 are left. The Lions drafted 9 players, 0 are left. Okay. But then in 2021, the Titans drafted 8 players, none of them are left. The Lions drafted 7, and 5 of them are still on the team. In the 2022 draft, the Titans drafted 9 players, 2 of them are left. The Lions drafted 7, 4 of them are left. In the 2023 draft, the Titans drafted 6 players, 3 of them are left. One of those is Will Levis and shouldn't count. The Lions drafted 8 players, 5 of them are left. So you see, it's just as simple as that. The Titans, even the 2 players that they have from 2022 are about to be gone, Chig Okonkwo and Roger McCreary. Even the 3 players that are left from 2023, one of those is Will Levis, and one of them's Tyjae Spears, and I don't know how much longer he's going to be around. So one team has gotten better and better and better because they're drafting players and keeping most of them because they're playing well enough to keep. The Titans are drafting players, and either they're not drafting the right players, or they're not developing them well, or they're not coaching them well. Something's going wrong here, right? Something's not right. And also keep in mind the Titans have traded some good players. They traded Elijah Molden, who's gone on to play well. They got rid of Hassan Haskins, who they drafted, who's gone on to play well for the Chargers. They got rid of course, A.J. Brown, but they also got rid of Jarvis Brownlee. I mean, they've had some good players that they let go. I mean, it's just a comedy of errors, and it's why you're in the position you're in. No, seriously, fire this organization into the sun so that it may never hurt anyone again. Xavier Restrepo should have made the 53-man roster to begin with, but after the pathetic performance of this team at the start of the season, he should have been elevated from the practice squad. As of this post, I don't think Tennessee has elevated him yet, and the anger at this organization and the coaching staff increases by the day. All I can do is yell at my phone as I watch this team blank their pants every week, and it's like they're not even trying to avoid hitting the iceberg anymore. Not that Restrepo will magically fix this team, but it's something. Give the kid a real shot. So first of all, I do think the Titans know they're hitting the iceberg, but I don't think they're shying away from it because they probably are thinking, well, let's at least get another high draft pick. But also, again, regarding Restrepo, I do think we have an inflated sense of what he brings to the table. I think that the Titans never wanted to bring Xavier Restrepo in. I think Cam Ward begged them to. And I don't think they see him the same way we do. I mean, and nor do I think Xavier Restrepo is going to fix anything wrong with this team. But I do get that the Titans wide receiving core is awful, especially with Ridley out. The Titans receiving group is awful. Tyler Lockett has left. But the problem is Xavier Restrepo is like their third option on the practice squad behind Mason Kinsey, who's not even on the practice squad anymore, and James Prochet. So it's just, it's one of those things where I think the fans just want to feel something, and Xavier Restrepo would help the fans feel something. That's where I likely land with that. If it wasn't for our 2023-2024 offseason, this would be a playoff team. In 2023, Levis sat behind Tannehill to develop like any young quarterback should. Levis came out looking hot and was very promising for the time he played in 2023. Firing Mike Vrabel ruined Will's development. Will played very poorly and undisciplined under Callahan. We actively watched him get worse like we are right now with Cam. We also should have traded Derrick Henry for picks during 2023, or better yet, re-sign him. Don't talk to me about how Cam is the future and Cam is better than Levis. We should have never had the number one overall pick in the first place. Okay, I won't talk about how Cam is the future and better than Levis. He is, but I'm not going to say he's the future, but he is better than Will, in my opinion. But I do agree with your premise that when we were going into that offseason, after Will's rookie year, we were going into that offseason and we fired Vrabel. I said at the time, this is a make or break offseason for the Titans. This is a make or break offseason. You've got to hire the right head coach. You've got to sign, like I'm saying right now, I'm saying the identical thing about the upcoming offseason for the Titans. You got to hire the right coach, got to sign the right players, got to draft the right players. You have to right now because it's going to be coming out of Cam's rookie year. That was coming out of Will's. And I said this is a make or break offseason at the time, and it was. It broke us. We hired the wrong guy. We signed Calvin Ridley to a $92 million contract. Bad call. Traded for L'Jarius Sneed and paid him. Bad call. Drafted J.C. Latham in the first round. That remains to be seen. I'm not going to make a call on any of the 2024 draft picks, but we did draft Jarvis Brownlee with the pick that we got for Kevin Byard and then traded that pick for So anyway, but I do agree with your premise. That was a make or break offseason. We made all the wrong decisions and it broke us and it got us to where we are now. So now this upcoming offseason is yet again going to be another make or break offseason because you're hired a new coach. And this one has even more high stakes than the last one because whoever this hire is, you're not going to fire him for some time because you know the reputation is that you fire everybody too soon. So they're going to feel obligated to stick with this person for a long time. This user said, off my chest. I personally don't believe Mike Vrabel was as good of a coach as people are acting like. He inherited a playoff caliber team, then proceeded to let it fall apart. His inability to develop younger players became obvious to me the longer he was there. And for people who want to argue, and for people who want to argue this, Mike Mularkey took us to the playoffs as our head coach the year he got fired after taking over for Ken Whisenhunt, who only won 3 games in 2 years. Also, Mularkey only had 2 years as well. Okay, so, I mean, time will tell with Vrabel in New England. Right now, Vrabel is in a good spot. I think as time went on with Tennessee, you started to see some of the issues with Vrabel, kind of his stubbornness. I'm not saying this doesn't make him a good coach. I'm just saying there was some stubbornness. There was some, issues with staying devoted to coaches that were not very good, just out of the name of loyalty. We'll see if that becomes an issue over the years in New England. For right now, he's cooking. Everything's going great there. But with the Titans, there were things to be upset about with the way he was running things and the way the team was looking under him. People get so threatened by that because they think you're saying he's not a good coach and we were right to fire. Whatever. All I'm saying is there were legitimate gripes about what Vrabel was doing at the time. And he did inherit a playoff team when he got here. But neither here nor there. Titans defensive-minded head coach. If the Titans do go defensive-minded head coach next year, it needs to be a good defensive-minded coach that can get an offensive coordinator outside the organization. We don't need another Mike Vrabel that promotes his staff to offensive coordinator. We don't need that stuff. It needs to be a good defensive-minded coach that can get someone outside the organization to be offensive coordinator for the Titans. So regarding getting a defensive-minded head coach, I'm not against that at all. In 2023, 2024, whenever that was, when we were hiring Callahan, I wanted an offensive-minded head coach because I thought that was the way. And in some ways, yeah, to get a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay, that is still a great thing. But I also see that same coaching cycle where we hired Brian Callahan, the Commanders hired Dan Quinn, and that worked out for them. The Seahawks hired Mike McDonald, who was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, and that's worked out for them. So the defensive coordinator for the Chargers is going to be a name that gets brought up. Brian Flores, obviously, like there are some, Robert Saleh, there are some defensive-minded head coach that will get brought up. But like you said, in that event that you hire a defensive-minded head coach, then whoever you hire as offensive coordinator becomes equally as important because that's who's going to be working with Cam Ward. Mike McDaniel, the current head coach of the Miami Dolphins, is a name that comes to mind. We'll hear more names as they come out, but I totally agree with everything you said. Final post, what we know about the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans have the worst offense in the NFL. Points per game, 13.7. That is last in the league. Total yards, 235, last in the league. Yards per play, 4.7, 31st in the league. Drives per touchdown, 12.8, last in the league. Passing yards, 159, next to last in the league. Rushing yards, 75, next to last in the league. Yikes. While the Titans have had losing seasons in the past, their performance through Week 8 of the 2025 season ranks among the worst in franchise history. Yikes. Rookie quarterback, first-round pick Cam Ward has struggled under constant duress. As of Week 7, he was pressured on 39.3% of his dropbacks, the fifth highest rate in the league. Yikes. Rookie quarterback Cam Ward has been responsible for 5 turnovers in 7 games and has been sacked 30 times. Yikes. One coach from an opposing team described the Titans as potentially the worst team they had seen in more than 2 decades, citing a lack of difference-making talent on the roster. Yikes. It's bad, folks. It is bad. A lot of work to do. 10 games left. How are we going to make it through? We'll see. Thank you for joining me for the Reddit segment. God bless you. Tighten up. Bye.